What's going on, everybody? Happy opening day. It's the best day of the sports year. Baseball is back. So in honor of today, I really want to go over some strategies to really get the shoulder ready for warming up for your throwing activities. Biggest thing is making sure that not only we're working on the shoulder, but also the thoracic spine as well. So we're going to start with some T-spine mobility using just a foam roller here. What we're going to do is get into a kneeling position, and we're just going to just start stretching that shoulder complex, that spine, with a good breath at the end. You do about 8 to 10 reps on each side. And then go on to the other side. So even if you're a right-handed thrower, going on the left side as well to get that rotation. About 8 to 10. And then from there, we can go into more flexion extension of the T-spine. So getting what we call the cat-camel or cat-cow, you're going to engage through the floor, arching your back towards the ceiling, and then sinking that down towards the floor to work on the flexion and extension of that T-spine as well. So do about 8 to 10, 10 to 12 of these with a good breath at the end to really mobilize that T-spine. Moving into shoulder stability, what we're going to do now is grabbing miniature dumbbells here. You don't really need a lot of weight for this. 2 pounds in each hand is fine. And a resistance band. We're really going to start warming up the shoulders as far as the stabilizers and the more superficial muscles like the deltoid. So we're going to take the dumbbells in each hand. We're going to have the band around the wrist here. First, what we're going to do is we're going to engage by separating the hands, and now keeping that tension. What we're going to do is just some scapular plane lifts to about shoulder height. You're really going to feel this in the delts and also right dead center in between the shoulder blades. This is a great way to make sure that those stabilizer muscles of the shoulder are engaged before we start going into throwing activity. Okay, so about 8 to 10, 10 to 12 of that. And then what we're going to do, so using our gym ball here, what we're going to do is to engage the rotator cuff, which is your stability system for the shoulder. We're just going to perform some ball circles here, and we can change the amplitude in the size of the circle. We can go smaller and quicker, or we can go bigger and slower. And then to change it even more, we're going to face away from the ball and continue to do those circles. You can go counterclockwise, you can go clockwise with it. And what this does is it really starts to challenge that rotator cuff to start to engage better. Okay? So from there, what we're going to do is release that posterior chain a little bit, that infraspinatus posterior cuff, using any kind of lacrosse ball. I like the AccuMobility balls because of the flat back here. Really adheres to the surface really well, and we can kind of get into some pin and stretch techniques to that posterior cuff. I don't encourage doing any kind of cranking motion here, just gentle motion. Find those good trigger points back here. 8 to 10, help loosen up that posterior chain. Good. And then from here, really starting to get into that rotator cuff some more, we're going to grab another resistance band here. So the best thing to do, take a TheraBand, wrap it around any kind of structure here. What you're going to want to do is increase the distance from your elbow to your side about 15 to 30 degrees to really activate that rotator cuff. At the side, I just have my fist here to act as the buffer, and then we're going to just do some rotations here to really get those external rotators of that rotator cuff firing. So 8 to 10, 10 to 12, really until you feel that to start to get fatigued and engaged. And you can do a couple rounds of this. What you really want to make sure is that you have the good rotator cuff function before you start to go into the throwing motion. So great way to just kind of warm up the shoulder. You want to make sure you're warming up the thoracic spine or T-spine. You want to make sure that you're engaging the rotator cuff, and then doing some pin and stretch techniques or some lacrosse ball release to that cuff to really help make sure that you have good mobility for that throw. So happy opening day. Enjoy the games. See you next time.